If this is what life sounds like, then this is what the world is. Got pinched between the whole zeitgeist, found out true religion. Ain't nothing but some old jeans, struggling through the whole thing. I might need me a refund, cause I can't fit in these things. I spend too much on the floss, shine me down for the gloss. The cost is way too expensive, the fact is keeping us lost. I'm looking for the old meaning, to get us out of this teaching. They tell me that I'm too wrong, or maybe that I'm too preachy. Hello, listener. Inconsistently Consistent podcast. I'm Erik, better known as Everything Real is Known. Welcome to season 5, Preachy. It took me a year and a half to actually build up enough courage to get back to the mic and make this episode. I'm telling you, I took some time off. I took some reflection off. Man, burnout is real. Let me just start there. I was so burnt out with starting in, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We're just going to go there, okay? We're going to go all the way there, and we're going to talk about why I've been gone, okay? Burnout is real, okay? Let's start there. I literally started on my 4th season, and I literally was trying to figure out why or what to come up with for the next episode. And I just lost it. Life was happening. I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on in regards to the podcasting world. It was like everybody and their mama had a podcast. I was like, damn, I'm getting swamped in this whole thing and I'm just getting started. So I was so burnt out. Life was happening. I took the time off. I really just wanted to reevaluate and re-energize myself and get back into the space, right? Because I feel like if I don't get back in this space, in the right headspace, I'm not going to be good for you, the listener, right? And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I was good for you. I wanted to make sure that I took this time off, took it off with family. A lot of shit has happened. A lot of shit took place. But I wanted to make sure I came back really energized and really ready to focus. As you can see, look around. As you can see, we're in weird studios. We're recording studios. So a lot has changed over this year and a half. So let's start there, right? We started with the burnout because I was like burnt out on like episode, like the tail end of it, starting to get to the season finale. I was like literally like, man, I don't even know if I want to do this shit no more. Like, is anybody listening? Is this thing on? I was like, what the fuck is really going on out here in regards to my whole podcasting career? So as you can see, a whole lot has changed. I'm in a new space now to where I'm able to create video format. So let's start. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me jump back and let me start off by talking about what burnout was for me, right? I just felt like I couldn't produce great enough episodes for you guys to be able to take heed to it and see exactly where I was coming from and get my point of views. And it was a whole lot of shit that was happening in between there too. We're going to get into it. We're going to deep dive into all of it because I want you guys to know as the listener, I'm back, I'm ready, I'm fully energized, and I needed that break. I needed that step away, right? I was dealing with W.E.I.R.D, and W.E.I.R.D was going really, really good. W.E.I.R.D was doing fabulous. And it slowed down, right? So I start putting my focus into why it slowed down and what was going on there. What was happening? The world was changing. Nobody wanted to really buy into this new brand. I mean, it kicked off really, really good because everybody was at fucking home. Let's be honest. Everybody was at home shopping online, so I was winning. I'm like, hell yeah, shit, yeah, keep buying my brand. Fuck yeah, But it was like I hit a wall. And then I hit another wall with Inconsistently Consistent. I'm like, damn. So then I figured I'd come back with Preachy, right? So this season is a full self-discovery of who I am. I'm introducing new people to the podcast. I'm trying to branch out and expand Inconsistently Consistent. as well as all my other ventures, right? So along with all of that burnout, I was just like, man, like, what do I do now? How do I come back? How do I make an impression on the people that I've been like trying to talk to? How do I do this? So I came up with a plan, right? After the burnout, after the weird clothing company slowed down, after everything happened, I'm dealing with my marriage, I'm dealing with family, I'm dealing with shit, growing a beard. We gonna get into it. We gonna discuss, cause it's a whole lot of shit that I went through. Not all of it is bad, but I want to take you back to the beginning of 2022. Okay, one of the first things that happened. Well, no, let's back up. Right, I feel like life was happening to me as opposed to life happening for me, right? Things happening for me. That wasn't happening. Life was happening to me at every step of the turn, you know? So when we get to 2022, right? 2022 started out, or actually it ended. 2021 ended. And I was like, okay, these are the things that I want to happen in 2022. I made a list. I was checking it twice. I'm like, this is what's going to go down. This is how it's going to go down. Shit's moving great. This is where I'm at. You know, I had this whole plan. 2022 opens up. And it opens up with the death of my dad. Let me tell you, my dad is everything to me, right? He showed me how to be a man. He showed me how to be a father. He showed me so much throughout the time, right, that he was here. And so when he passed, I kind of acted like a little asshole to everybody else. I felt like, you know, he was my dad and nobody else's dad. Even though he was dads to everybody else, I felt like he was my dad. And so I took ownership of it and I started pushing everybody out. So I was dealing with that. I was pushing all my family away. I was pushing family away, just acting an ass. And I truly was. And I apologize to anybody that felt slighted or felt away about the way that I acted. I need to address that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a video out there floating around. Don't go look for it. Don't go look for this video. But I feel so ashamed, right? Because in the moment, my raw emotions and my raw feeling came out. And it wasn't my best moment. It really wasn't. And so it's something that haunted me. Like over time, I was like, damn, like, you know, what the fuck? Like, did I really say that? And, you know, mugs, you know, motherfuckers was like filming me and shit like that. And I'm really like having a moment at this point in time, you know, with everything that's happening. I'm really having a moment. So I'm like having this moment, trying to understand it. And it's happening in real time in front of everybody else. So there's that, right? So my dad passed and I didn't know how to react, right? Everybody's like, oh, you're going to grieve. You know, you're going to go through this. You're going to go through that. And I honestly just didn't. I tried to stay strong for my family. I tried to stay strong in the face of everything. And I just didn't. I didn't stay strong at all. Inside, I'm crumbling like a motherfucker. I'm crumbling. But outside, the outer shell was looking like I had it all together. And I had this grand plan, right? So before my dad passed, he was talking to me a lot about my weight, right? He was talking. So if we dive back into 2021, before 2022 happened, before we got here, all right, I was eating like shit. You know, again, life was happening to me, so I'm eating like shit. You know, and he was talking to me about it. And when he passed, that was one of the things that I held on to. I'm like, damn, I gotta get back in shape. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And I didn't. I did the total fucking opposite. I went and said, okay, listen, you want me to get healthy? I'm going to get fat as fuck. And that's exactly what I did. I got fat as fuck. And I can't even blame the COVID shit. The COVID shit happened, and I got COVID weight, but I was already kind of like, I was already kind of chunky. You know what I'm saying? I was always kind of big. But add the COVID shit on top of it, and I was acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? Just in the fact that, I'll tell you, the success of my business with W.E.I.R.D and the success of this podcast is what drove me into doing more things, right? Drove me into the fast food, because I'm like, man, I'm winning. Fuck it, I'm winning. So at this point, I didn't care. You know what I mean? And I started to notice. I guess when the clock ticked in, you know what I mean? Like, as of recently, I've started to do a lot better about, eating better and things of that nature. So I felt like I really needed to get myself in order, and I needed to get my health in order, more importantly, right? So that's one of the things that happened after my dad passed. But you can't, when someone passes, you can't tell a person how to react. And in that moment, I'm mad at myself for the way that I reacted. But again, it's something that I did, and I have to own up to it, and I have to say that this is something that happened, so I can't run away from it, So I discussed tail end of 2021 going into 2022. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? I'm going to grow a beard. Beards is in. I need to grow a beard. So that was one of the other things that I did as well. Like, I tried to grow a beard. And as you can see, as you I don't know if you check me out. If you want to do video, if you want to, go into the video, I'm on YouTube. So, and you can catch my beard there. Okay. You can catch the beard game on YouTube. Okay. If you, if you want to fully listen there, or obviously if you're sitting back and you're watching this podcast as well, this is about as good as it's going to get. I tried to grow it out. I bought all this fucking hair product to like help my hair grow. Everybody's telling me, oh, you got to get castor oil. I looked at a bunch of YouTube videos on like how to do this. And listen, someone gave me the realest information in regards to my beard. It was a barber. Okay. He said, if your hair hasn't grown by the age of 30, fucking hang it up. It's not, if you haven't grown out a full beard by the age of 30, hang it the fuck up. And I just refused to believe that. I was like, no, you're not going to tell me. I got product to grow my hair on my face, and I do it diligently every night. And I'm seeing the growth and the straggly, and it didn't fucking pan out. It didn't work. I was like, wait, why is my shit not growing? I brushed it. I did everything that, that I thought could be done to get a full beard. And it did not fucking happen. I was like, fuck it. Okay. This is about as good as it's going to get. And that's what I ran with. Okay. So that was one of the other things that was fucking with me, between the time off. Okay. So besides the burnout, besides my dad passing, besides COVID and the COVID weight, besides growing a fucking beard, I had the pleasure of dealing with family right after my dad passed. It couldn't have been a worse time for me to deal with family. I'm thinking, hey, I haven't seen my family in a little bit. This is great. Little did I know, it was not going to be great because I was still processing and I didn't have a chance to really process everything. And I thought, hey, my dad did, so I'm good. I could process this. I'm strong. I could do this. And it was just, so far from the truth. I couldn't fucking deal with it. Like, family was getting on my nerves. When family comes over and they come to the house and, somebody needs to live with you or whatnot, they kind of get in your space. They get in your way. You know what I'm saying? You're like, damn, like I'm trying to make this shit work. And, it just didn't work out. Family gets in the way. And so that was another thing that I was dealing with over the beginning of 2022. I thought it was going to turn out like fucking awesome, and it did not. It went terribly bad. But again, that's family. I love them to death. Who am I kidding? I can't get rid of family. They got their own agendas. I got my agendas. Shit happens. What can I say? I wish things would have went differently or would have went a different way, but it is what it is. What can I do about it, right? Only thing I could do is move forward at this point in time to try to make those things better. But at this point in time, there's nothing that I could do to kind of make that situation better at the time when it was happening, okay, in the beginning of the year. And a lot of this stuff, I want to be clear too. A lot of this shit that was happening in the year, like 2022. 2022 has been kind of shitty a little bit for me. It hasn't been the best. First part of it is like, shit's happening. Like, what the fuck? I don't even want to get into fucking Biden and what's been happening there. Cause I could go fucking political like a motherfucker too. I don't even want to go there just because that's a whole nother fucking can of worms to open up. I'm already dealing with my life. I'm already dealing with what I'm eternally going through. And did you throw Biden in there? Fuck it. It's going to go bonkers. It's going to go crazy. I'm not even going to deal with that part of it. I'll leave that part for another episode. But the other thing, too, that I need to bring up over 2021 to 2022 is quitting, right? So I started this podcast, Inconsistently Consistent. I started the podcast because, and with that name in mind, because I quit so many times. I quit so many things over and over and over and over and over. I would quit. I would get so good and then I would quit. I would quit, I would get so good and then I would quit again. But what I've learned over time with all of that quitting, right, and with me taking the break, to reassess myself and just kind of reconnect. I had to get the fuck away from everything, to be honest with you. All the electronics, like trying to learn shit, being on YouTube, staying up late, trying to figure this shit out on my own. Again, with the burnout and with the quitting, I was able to put a lot of shit in my tool belt. I was able to learn a lot of shit about not just me as the person, but I was able to learn about things to do, how to do things, right? Because I spent a lot of time on YouTube, as I've told you guys before. I'm a huge advocate for YouTube University, but I put a lot of stock in what I was learning as well. So I wasn't just sitting on my ass. There was times that I was sitting on my ass and not doing anything, but I was learning. And all the stuff that I had learned before that I had put to the side and just said I wasn't going to do, I was able to pick that back up and kind of expound on it. So now things are better. Now things look a little different. I mean, look, we're in weird studios right now. So I was able to put a lot of stuff in my tool belt. I've started trying to think about, with trying to get my body in shape and with trying to do, get healthier. I've also dove into myself a little more, to my feelings, to process shit. I had to, because I was on the verge of breaking down. I had to fucking process this shit. So breathing exercises, meditation, working out, all about trying to self-improve, trying to get there and trying to be a better person, right? That's what the end game was. And I'm still working on that. That's why I'm back. I feel better than ever. I feel like I'm going to be able to talk to you guys about everything that I am going through, and just kind of make a show out of it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of shit that I'm going to talk. There's going to be a lot of differences of opinions just because, I got to keep it spicy like that. So I really appreciate every last one of you guys that has listened to my podcast, that has been on this journey with me, that has even just to click for 5 seconds to check me out, checking out my trailers, what have you. I appreciate you guys. And I don't want to make it seem like, I left and fuck everybody, because that wasn't the point. I wasn't saying fuck everybody, but I needed the time. I really needed to disconnect to reconnect. And it was huge for me, right? I needed that time. So I had to, in a sense, trim the fat. And so one of the things that I cut out was the podcast, because I was like, I'm giving too much of my life and I don't understand what I'm getting out of it at this point in time. So I trimmed the fat. And hopefully you as a creator, hopefully you feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's good to take a break. It's good to kind of step back and disconnect to reconnect, right? It's good to do that. You can't always just keep going and going and going, because at some point in time, the content starts to get stale and it starts to get old, and people start to kind of, move away from you because your content, it becomes something that it wasn't when they started, in the beginning with you. So those are things that I had to think about with coming back to doing this podcast and how it was going to be. Because again, I don't want to get old. And I know I was thinking, this is another thing I was thinking too. I was thinking, who really gives a fuck? Like, it's my life. Like, who gives a fuck about my life? But I had to realize that people do care. And you guys, you guys care. And it was like, wow, I didn't know. I was totally oblivious to that. I didn't know. I was like, you know what? It's my show. I was selfish in it. It's my show. Fuck this shit. I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to let life happen to me for a little while. Fuck this shit. I walked out. I quit. But that's why I came up with the name. I came up with the name Inconsistently Consistent because I'm constantly inconsistent on shit. I quit a lot. But when I do quit, I tend to learn that there's things that I might have forgotten that I'm able to pick back up and build and expound on it. So even with me quitting, even with all of that stuff, I was able to expound on it. And not to mention, right, I'm leaving out one of the hugest things. I know I talked about family coming and everything like that once my dad passed, but you know what? My immediate family, my wife, my kids, man, I really, really, really had to reconnect with them as well. I had to put this shit away, stop building the show so I could reconnect with them and make things better. So as a result, shit got better because I let it get better, because I took myself out of the equation. Like I was telling all you guys, my listeners before, I had to trim the fat. And it just seemed like the podcast was the first thing that I had to trim. I had to let this shit go, So if you're taking anything away from this episode of me coming back, right? I had to do some explaining. Where the fuck have you been? Where were you? What happened? I left off almost a year and a half ago, drained and disconnected from it all. But now I'm connected back in. Bigger things are happening on the horizon. So I'm all open for it. And again, if you're new here, if you're new to this podcast, thank you for checking me out. And if you're returning and you're like, man, I'm glad he's back, I want to thank you for believing in me in the beginning. I want to thank you for being a fan of Inconsistently Consistent from the beginning, because I don't take any of that for granted. Just because I walked away doesn't mean that I was like, fuck you. Because that's not how it is. That's not how I am built like a person. But you need those breaks. So thank you for believing in me. And I really appreciate everyone for listening to all the seasons that I put together before. Because I really worked really, really hard on all of it. And so I didn't want it to go to waste or anything like that. So I looked and said, okay, I don't want it to go to waste. What do I need to do? What do I have to do to get this shit back up and going? There's a lot of work to get it back up and going. But, it's back. It's here now, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what has happened over the time. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to step away and I'm able to come back and I'm able to do this on a bigger scale. So I'm really happy about that. But again, listener, this season of Preachy, season 5, is all about different opinions. Some of it you're not going to like. You're not going to like the opinions that come from me or from my guests that I have here that we're talking about. They're not all going to agree with me. And some of it you're not going to like. But you will take something away from the conversation. You will walk away with your own opinion to form, but you will walk away a better person from the conversations that I'm about to have in season 5. So Preachy might seem like he's being preachy. I am to a certain extent. And I want you to listen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.